In a world powered by data, architecture defines destiny. Hello, I am Ram Morla, an enterprise data architect and a chief data officer. For over 3 decades, I have helped insurers, banks, financial services companies, and public organizations turn data into clarity, governance into resilience, and artificial intelligence into measurable outcomes. As a creator of the Resilient by Design data governance framework, my mission is so simple: build trust in data that drives transformation. Subscribe and let's design the future, one resilient system at a time.
All right, welcome. Today, we're going to connect some dots, some really big dots, actually. We'll go from something a kid can understand to these massive strategies that pull in billions for the world's biggest companies. It's a journey from simple patterns to huge profits, and it all starts right now. I know, it sounds like the start of a bad joke, right? But the answer to this question, well, it's the key to understanding one of the most powerful forces in business today: artificial intelligence. So let's unravel this thing together. Okay, so to really get a handle on artificial intelligence, we have to start with, intelligence itself. And for that, we're going way back to the basics, like how we as humans learn anything at all. Think about it. If you're trying to teach a little kid what a cat is, you're not going to pull out a dictionary, are you? You wouldn't say, a cat is a small, domesticated, carnivorous mammal. No way! Of course not. You just show them. You'd use examples. You'd point to your own cat maybe, snoozing on the couch, and say, see that? That is a cat. And that's it. That's the first piece of the puzzle, a positive example. Then, maybe you're flipping through a book, and you see a totally different kind of cat, maybe a super skinny Siamese one, not your fluffy tabby, and you'd say, hey, look, that is also a cat. Boom. Another positive example. It adds a little more detail, a little more nuance to what the kid is learning. And this part is so important. You'd be at the park, see a dog, and you'd make it super clear. Now that thing over there, that is not a cat. That negative example is absolutely crucial. It helps the child figure out the edges, the boundaries of the whole cat idea. So all these things, the pictures, the labels you're giving them, cat, not a cat, all this raw information. Guess what? That's it. That's all data is. It's not this scary, complicated thing. It's just a bunch of examples. Okay, so we've got that down. Data is just a set of examples. But what's actually happening inside a brain, or for that matter, inside a machine, when you feed it thousands or even millions of these examples? Well, that's where the magic really starts. That's where we get to pattern finding. After a kid sees hundreds of pictures of cats, all different shapes, sizes, colors, their brain doesn't memorize every single picture. That would be impossible. Instead, it starts to unconsciously see the pattern. The pointy ears, the whiskers, the way they move, that classic cat shape. And here's the kicker. AI is built to do the exact same thing, just on a ridiculously massive scale. This slide really nails the huge shift in how we tell computers what to do. The old way was all about writing super specific rules. Like for spam, a programmer would literally write, if an email has the words free money, then it's spam. But of course, the spammers just get clever, right? They start writing F3MONE, and suddenly your rule is useless. The new way with AI, it's totally different. We don't write rules. We just show the AI a million spam emails and a million good emails and basically say, go figure it out. You find the pattern. And it does. It becomes this incredibly powerful, super adaptable pattern-finding machine. So here's the most important takeaway. AI isn't some thinking, feeling robot from a sci-fi movie, at least not for what we're talking about here. It's a tool, a seriously powerful tool, but a tool nonetheless. And it's designed to do one thing incredibly well: find patterns in huge amounts of data so it can make a really good guess, a prediction, about something new it's never seen before. Exactly like a kid seeing a new kind of cat and still knowing, yep, that's a cat. All right, we've gone from a simple cat to a big concept. But now, we have to take a huge leap. We're jumping from the simple, clean idea to the messy, high-stakes world of a massive global company. And this is the multi-billion-dollar question, isn't it? It's one thing to teach a computer how to spot a cat in a photo. It's a completely different ballgame to use that same core idea, finding patterns and examples, to do things like predict where the stock market is going, or how to make a supply chain more efficient, or whether a multi-million-dollar merger is a good idea. How on earth do you scale that up? Well, the honest truth is, it gets complicated. And it gets complicated fast.
Instead of a nice, tidy folder of cat pictures, suddenly you've got sales data, marketing data, logistics data, and it's all in different formats, living in different computer systems. Just getting all that information to talk to each other in a secure, reliable way, that's not just a tech problem anymore. It's a massive company-wide strategic challenge.
So, when you're facing a problem this big, this complex, you don't just need a good programmer. You need a totally different kind of leader. You need an architect. This quote from a leader in this space really just nails the role perfectly. It's not about just managing data, it's about architecting data functions and executing C-suite strategy. I mean, what does that really mean? It means they're not just building databases, they're designing the entire system and then translating what that data says into real action for the CEO, for the board, the highest level of the company.
So, what does a person like this actually do all day? Well, they're the ones designing the company's entire data strategy from top to bottom. They use their years and years of deep industry experience, especially in tricky fields like finance and insurance, to make sure everything's above board. They literally build entire data departments from scratch. And maybe most importantly, they connect all that technical wizardry back to one simple thing: making the business more money and more successful. Okay, a challenge this huge absolutely needs a plan. It needs a blueprint. So let's take a look at the actual strategic framework a top-tier data architect uses to turn all that messy, chaotic data into one of the company's most valuable assets. This whole strategy really stands on four main pillars. First, it starts with pioneering. That's building the whole data function from the ground up when nothing existed before. Once that's built, the goal is to start driving decisions, giving the executives those clear reports and insights they need to make the right calls. Then, to stay ahead, you have to be constantly modernizing all the tech underneath. And finally, a really great data system is all about enabling growth. It makes it way easier to buy another company and smoothly integrate all their data into yours. And this right here, this is what separates a real expert from everybody else. It's not just about the technology. It's about having this rare mix of skills: the hands-on experience of building these data systems from nothing, the deep industry knowledge to handle all the complex regulations, the vision to create brand new frameworks for things like security and governance, and, the business savvy to turn it all into actual profit. They have to be that trusted advisor who can speak both the language of tech and the language of the boardroom. Okay, let's bring this all together. We started with a really simple idea. Data is just the example, right? Like a picture of a cat. AI is the tool that finds the pattern in millions of those examples. But the data architect? They're the one who takes that simple, powerful idea and builds the actual blueprint for the future of the whole company. And that just leaves us with one final thought to chew on. Our entire world is built on patterns. Everything from the shows you get recommended on Netflix to the global financial systems that power our economies. The real question is, who's drawing the blueprint in your world? And are they building for the future? Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer.